thanks to you all for coming today. We're going to get started on the agenda. Item number 1 is the approval of the prior commissioner court meetings.
Make a motion to approve the committee's written.
Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Approve those. Item number 2 is the approval of the budget amendments and our line item transfers. Melissa?
This is a request from the Sheriff's Department. They have found under the state bid contract 2 vehicles that is already allotted under the county budget, but they're $672 short. It's always a guess from year to year how much the replacement vehicles are going to be, and they're pulling it within their own department. Right, Chief? And then a few donations.
Okay, thank you.
Move to approve.
Any discussion on that? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. What about the payment of bills and expenses? Is there a motion on?
So moved.
Why do we have this up here?
What? The bill?
The bills and expenses just for information or for approval?
The regular.
Okay, all right. So all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Next item, item number 3. Let's see, we got that. That's payroll expenses. Item number 4 is receive information, announcements, and reports from county departments. Brandon, I think you were good enough to come in and give us a brief overview of your role as the adult probation officer.
Yes, sir.
If you can come up.
I appreciate y'all putting me early on the agenda. It looks like you need the seats. Now, I did make some copies for each of the commissioners and a few other, and a few extras just in case anybody else was interested. And I promise not to keep much of your time. It's basically just wanting to give you and I thought about putting a series of slides up here, and I decided, no, y'all rather just let me talk and get out of your way. And probation has a huge impact on Houston County, but no one really knows it because we're kind of behind the scenes. Probation is an alternative to sending someone to county jail or to prison. We're always hearing about the expense per day for county jail, and we're hear all the time about the expense per day for prison. Well, compared to those, well, county jail, and this is approximate, it's $45 a day approximately. Prison, they've got that down to a science, and of course it adjusts every year, but it's about $44 to $45 a day for prison. Probation's like $2.13 a day, and about, well, more than half of that funding is actually client-based. In other words, the people on probation pay for that. So besides being alternative to prison and to county jail, it's a cheap alternative, but it's also prison isn't for everyone. Now we have a total of 7 employees in Houston County Probation Office, and we supervise 613 offenders at this time. Some of those are in county and some of them are out of county, because some people, of course, that pass through and get in trouble in Houston County don't necessarily live here, right? In all of we're a pretty stable office. In fact, someone asked the other day, you got any openings? I said, no, we hadn't had any openings in 6 years, because I guess our most rookie probation officer has been there for over 6 years. So we're a pretty stable office as well. Probation is an alternative to sending someone to prison. Our goal, well, we have actually a couple of goals. First of all, we are officers of the court. We serve the courts. And our primary goal is to protect the community. If someone we consider a danger to the community, the whole point of that is, well, make the community safe, get them out of the community if necessary. But our other goals are just as important, are making sure that the clients are put on track to completing probation successfully, giving them the tools and the referrals to do that. Probation is not parole. Okay? I know that's not a point we all need to hear, but some people do, because everyone is always calling us parole. Parole is after they've been to prison. Probation is hopefully instead of going to prison. But we're trying to help people successfully complete probation so they don't have to then go to prison. To complete the court-ordered conditions of probation, whether it be community service, payments, classes. In fact, we teach, my officers and I, we teach about 4 or 5 different classes for education purposes, for rehabilitation purposes. And we offer a couple of those in English and in Spanish. But we're also there to identify and address specific needs of the clients. We go through assessment processes and background to identify what people need to focus on. Everybody's going to come in and tell you they got financial problems, right? In fact, if we took a poll in here, we'd all say, yeah, I could use some more money. But the truth is, that's usually just one of the symptoms of a much bigger problem. And our idea is to get to the bottom of what those problems are. But that is just a very general overview. Now, in probation, of course, we supervise community service hours. We also collect all the money for court costs, fines, Crime Stoppers, crime victims. All that money we collect and then send it everywhere in the world. We write a whole lot of checks and send it everywhere else. It's crazy because we don't get to keep as much as we send away, but that's just wishful thinking. But one thing about what we do is the state is always changing the rules every 2 years, right? They always come up with something else to add. And slowly and surely, the bigger counties are having to set up collection agencies. If they have like a town over 50,000 or a county that's over, I think, 200,000 or something like that, they have to set up their own collections department. They've got to have drug courts. So we need to keep it small, guys. As long as we stand to that magical 200,000 mark, we'll be okay. But the truth is, because we're a smaller county, we're still able to collect those and save the county money by not having to hire a whole other department, basically, to do that, as well as different drug courts and such like that. Another thing I gave to the commissioners is, besides a breakdown of what the clients pay, the state gives us about 97 cents a day for felony clients. The clients pay about, well, $1.64 a day. But according to the Texas government code, the only thing the county really provides for the probation department is, well, it's access to insurance if used to be. Now we go through ERS, which is the state. But mostly it's just a place to work. Phone systems, internet, things that we can do so we can do our day-to-day job. And in return, we do things like collecting all those payments and all that stuff and then send it. In fact, one of the things I gave to y'all was just a short breakdown of, like, for instance, in 2012, we collected over $87,000 in fines, $41,000 of court costs. Reimbursement for attorney fees was over $30,000. And of course, restitution, which is always a big one, is we collected over $107,000 of restitution. That's just in 2012. And that's paying back not only the victims, but also paying for lab fees, for state lab fees, and for all different things.
Where does that money go?
The restitution?
Where do the reimbursements go? The monies go?
Well, they go to whatever agency, like for instance, court costs, we send those to the clerk's offices, and then they also divide it up and send it wherever the state mandates. Restitution, we write checks straight to victims or to the state, just depending on where the court order says for us to send it to. And of course, fines, they go to the clerk's office and then get dispersed in however many directions those go as well.